theme is countering the counter. I'm picking the Odrysian Kingdom because that is one of the most obvious factions in Total War Rome 2. And Game Planner has picked a faction that can potentially counter the Odrysian Kingdom very well. Heir of Carthage did a video where he showed 2 battles where he first played as the Odrysian Kingdom and was countered, and then he played against the Odrysian Kingdom and showed how to kind of mitigate some of the shortcomings of the Odrysian Kingdom. However, I have been playing the Odrysian Kingdom a lot lately, and while they are a challenging faction to use, I'm starting to kind of get the hang of how to counter armies that are made to counter the Odrysian Kingdom. So, I'm bringing a very atypical build with 4 Thracian cavalry, 4 of these Thracian royal cavalry, 4 mercenary Dacian spears, a mix of Thracian skirmishers and what are they called, Thracian peltasts, and 3 mercenary hoplites. So, my opponent has a fairly identical build to what Heir of Carthage showed in his video. He has a front line consisting of mercenary Celtic warriors, 4 of those. Then he has these Thuria spears, 6 of those, to support the Celtic warriors with javelins, and then he has Pontic peltasts to provide even more javelin fire. So 5 Pontic peltasts. Just by looking at this build you can surmise that sending Thracian warriors and sending Thracian nobles into attack these guys while being under arrow fire is going to, or javelin fire, is going to result in a very quick defeat of your Thracian warriors and your nobles. So that is not what I'm going to do, obviously. I don't even have Thracian warriors or nobles. I am going to send my Thracian cavalry to troll the flanks, do some damage to his cavalry, look for an opportunity to take out any skirmishers. While I'm doing that, I'm going to keep most of my army hidden here, move up the hill to be in a strong position. From here, I can both go around here and down, I can go around here and down, I can get some cover from my units in this area. So on this map, getting that hill can be very beneficial. And also because I want to put my army in a strong position, so I'm not just rushed by this build, because if this army rushed me on flat terrain I would be in a world of trouble. So this army needs a bit of time, needs a bit of micro to work, but if you manage to do that, it can counter its counter armies very effectively. Now, this line is a bit daunting to take on, because 6 Thuria spears and 5 Pontic peltas can throw an obscene amount of javelins, and not many units can stand up to that for long. However, I have no intention of taking this army head on. I am going to outplay, outflank and destroy this army. So in order to do that I have to keep my cavalry alive. I don't want to lose any Thracian cavalry. They are extremely valuable, but still I am going to troll with them just to give my opponent something to do and something to think about while I move into position. These noble blood cavalry aren't going to take a lot of damage while in the forest here. A bit of hit point damage, but nothing major. What I really want to have happen is for him to start moving his skirmishers around, trying to follow my cavalry, and I'm just going to pull away and start looking for different angles of approach. While this is happening, I am moving my troops into position very, very slowly. I am in no rush to force an engagement here. The times that I lose with the Odrysian Kingdom, it's often either because I'm up against a good player, or because the timing is very important, and you'll see why. The timing is important with all factions, but some factions are more forgiving than others. In this case, I have an extremely weak infantry corps with 3 mercenary hoplites and these mercenary Dacian spears. They are total trash units. 30 base morale. The mercenary hoplites are hoplites, but against this, there's not really much they can do. So my opponent sees my army, he's going to reorient his lines, and that's good for me because it will make it fairly easy to move around on this flank, and it will also enable my Thracian cavalry to have some more room to maneuver in the back here. Now what I'm trying to have happen is I'm trying to make his cavalry follow my Thracians all the way over here, where I can charge him with my royals, but it doesn't look like he's going to take the bait, so I'm just going to show my Thracian Royal Cavalry and start to move them into position. As you can see, I am weighing my cavalry heavily on one flank here. I'm moving all of my cavalry towards this flank, so I want to be able to smash one flank to open up his rear as quickly as possible. I'm not going to smash through the front here, so and I really need to, I can't afford to get bogged down on the flanks. Like, say I put 2 cavalry units here and 2 here, I can't afford being bogged down by Thurio spears and shot at by peltasts, so I'm going to have to do something else. I'm going to go for a very strong flank on this side, and since I have the terrain on my side here, if he decides to push I can withdraw, so I'm feeling fairly comfortable in my position. Continuing to skirmish, kill off some noble blood cavalry, and this is going to be very important when I'm sending in my Thracian royals, because I want them to be able to defeat this noble blood cavalry as quickly as possible. And this is also going to place most of his cavalry on this flank, which is good for me, since that means that my own skirmishers will be safe when the engagement starts. Some more skirmishing, more hit point damage on these noble blood cavalry, just setting them up for the charge, softening them up a bit. They are taking hit point damage here, and that's going to be very, very important in the charge to come. And wow, I think I might have hit... Okay, that's a horse. Okay, I thought it was some wildlife that I hit with my javelins. Okay. So, running out of peltast range, the Pontic peltast didn't manage to kill any guys because I managed to maneuver my horse out of range just before the javelins hit. And I'm just continuing to move around, and this is also good for me, him placing his peltasts here, because that means that when I engage with the cavalry, I probably will catch some of them as well, and it will weaken his missile support in his center. He's probably fairly confident in his build, since he doesn't move around a lot, and perhaps my build caught him a bit off guard, because it's fairly obvious I'm not just going to charge straight in to his missiles here. But here we go, I'm setting my Thracian Royal Cavalry, making them ready for the big push. Sending up my hoplites first, giving attack orders. I want to save my mercenary Dacian spears for a while, and I'm keeping my hoplites spread fairly thin, so they will take minimal casualties from missiles on the way in. Now here we go, I'm charging these Celtic warriors, they will get smashed by my Thracian royals. I'm charging the noble blood cavalry. It's downhill, my opponent doesn't have time to react, or he doesn't react. The noble blood cavalry is going to die very quickly to this charge. Look at this. Dropping fairly quickly, and this whole flank is going to disintegrate very soon. I'm able to tank quite a lot of damage with my mercenary hoplites, which is going to enable me to send in my Dacian spears and my Thracian skirmishers. I'm sending my Thracian cavalry around here, shooting a bit at his general. Already a noble blood cavalry is going down, and these Pontic peltasts are firing at point blank range into this noble blood cavalry, but luckily not too many units free to fire at them. Here my Thracian royals are charging into this Pontic royal cavalry. They will soon be joined by this unit, and this noble blood cavalry managed to destroy these mercenary Celtic warriors. The Thurio spears are still supporting the infantry, not firing at my cavalry, which was a bit of a mistake. And since I was able to destroy his entire flank here, now my cavalry is free to charge into his Pontic peltasts. They are just herding them into a nice big blob here for them to destroy. So the Thracian cavalry, decent melee units. They have a low charge bonus, but they can hold for a while in melee. These Pontic peltasts are also decent in melee, but they're getting surrounded now, so they won't hold for long. And my Thracian skirmishers are one by one picking off these Thurio spears. They have decent armor, but these guys have 41 missile damage and a lot of armor penetration. So in blobs like this, they are going to be able to get massive kills. And since my opponent's cavalry is destroyed and neutralized, they are just free to do to him what he wanted to do to me. So when these Pontic peltasts are destroyed, I'm going to be able to rear charge him at will and shoot missiles at him at will. So this battle is, for all intents and purposes, over. Now, if my opponent had pulled back his Thurio spears and put them in square formation, this would be a bit more difficult. But these skirmishers would still be able to kill off Thurio spears in square formation fairly effectively. Here come the noble cavalry into the rear of these Thurio spears. They're going to rout very quickly indeed. Some of my Dacian spears are routing, but they've done their job. And now we see a chain route coming down all the way through his lines. So quite happy with how that battle went. It was a fairly obvious counter pick, both in terms of faction and in terms of army composition to counter the Odrysian Kingdom. However, I counterpicked the counter and was able to neutralize his cavalry and neutralized his skirmishers, while my skirmishers were able to reign supreme, get a lot of kills, and neutralize his Thurio spears fairly effectively, and all of the units, save for these mercenary Dacian spears, got some kills on the mercenary hoplites as well. I really don't expect them to do anything other than just holding the line for a bit. But the Odrysian Kingdom is a very fun faction to play, because you can play around with these mind games of thinking about what your opponent probably is going to bring to counter the Odrysian Kingdom, and it's probably going to be skirmish heavy with a few holding units and such, probably horse archers, skirmishers, and these Thracian cavalry are very useful because they can skirmish first and then they can charge into melee and take care of enemy skirmishers. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again on the battle.